Boiler room office space. This happened in former Yugoslavia in the 80s. It was still a communist country, but by then they started allowing for some privately owned companies limited in size. My brother was working for one such company which made high-end custom AC systems, and that's how I know about this story, as this was a novel concept at the time. Office space was almost non-existent. You had this huge state-owned companies who had their own buildings with everything they needed, including office space, and outside of that there was never need and nothing was built with that in mind, so you really needed to think outside the box for this one. And that brings us neatly to second peculiarity of life in former Yugoslavia: apartment buildings. To keep this short, at some point before, whole bunch of them were made. Basically whole new part of the city, and all of them had this huge space in the ground floor, first floor, that was planned to be boiler room, which was later abandoned in favor of one big heating plant, to which all the buildings in that area were connected to. As you can see where this is going, owner of the fledgling company approached apartment building representatives and asked them to rent the space intended for non-existing heating system. Now these guys in this particular building were retired military officers, so a little bit arrogant and not big on asking questions. They had no idea what was going on, other than some guy was willing to give them money to rent part of building that was never used. Not much money, but basically free money for them. So they signed a standard renting contract, which is very important for later. Owner converted the boiler room to two-floor office with all facilities, and that was that for a while. One point about this guy: he didn't like to rent, so after a while, when business started to pick up, he started building a new factory that included much needed office space. When this was finished and he was ready to move, he again approached apartment building representatives with proposal to pay him some of the costs of remodeling. They could now rent for way higher price, as office space was by then in high demand, and for what he was asking they would be in a clear in less than a year, and after that profit. But as I said, former military officers, bit arrogant, used to get their way. They thought about it and said, no, you are moving out and we are gonna get that anyways and for free. Owner said okay, no problem. Gathered around all of his employees and said, anything you need from former office, feel free to take. Electric plugs, toilet bowls, doors, anything that could be dismantled could be taken. After that he brought a small excavator, drove it in and started tearing place clean. By then building representatives are running and screaming bloody murder, threatening to call police, militia, then legal actions, everything and anything. Owner calmly takes out the standard renting contract with highlighted premises to be returned to original state after renting period. Now there is something poetic about bunch of entitled, arrogant bastards being screwed and knowing they can't do nothing about it. My brother says it was glorious. I wish I was there to see it. Also, I'm happy to say that company managed to survive Balkan Wars of 90s and is still going strong to this day. He worked in the steam pipe trunk distribution venue. There was a similar story I saw on Reddit where an indoor fun amusement company had to close up for COVID, and the landlords took advantage of the lockdown to quickly sell the building, while only offering the tenants a very limited time to remove their business equipment. And after X date, anything left behind would be property of the landlords. Because of COVID, they banked on the tenants not being able to fully remove all their equipments, including renovations, and apparently had included the tenants' renovations and equipment as part of the deal to the new buyers. The businesses were able to rally and remove all equipment and upgrades, including carpets and walls, as their rental agreement had a similar premises to be returned to original state clause. This caused the sale to fall through. Yada yada yada. Sorry, I don't remember more details to look up the post. Or even what subreddit it was. Ha ha ha, best response from your brother also. Congrats on making it through the war. I was expecting a red stapler to show up. Basically, the US did this with military equipment after WW2. After the Second World War, the US Army did not want to. Or could not. Different stories exists. Take the trucks, guns and supplies back to the US, and the French or British did not want to buy it for a very low price either. They decided to dump jeeps, guns, bulldozers, trucks, tractors and other equipment into the sea so nobody could use it after them for free. With a ramp on the beach, millions of dollars worth of vehicles and supplies disappeared in the clear blue waters, destroying the reef and contaminating the water. I bet the arrogant owner boiled over when they realized the renters were smarter than them. Nothing like arrogance getting justly rewarded. The last sentence is the best part of this whole story. Did any of the employees come up with a proposal to find a journal in Iceland? Love it. Great job by your brother. Give him a pat on the back from an internet stranger. The way you write made me read that with a Russian accent. Thank you for that. Return to previous state, and that state being empty to the walls, is pretty standard for commercial premises. Less so for office space. But either way, other than destroying the planet, this is malicious compliance that doesn't actually accomplish anything. Odlikin Post. Samo Ispravka Mala. Police ja isto police. Kod zapajesima kazes militia to t dode kao sad u ukrajini sto ja Donbaska milisiha ili azovsa. Contra strain. Irregularna vojska ot prilike. Ne privodi im police na, naski.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.